Welcome, dear listeners, to Satanist Nextdoor. We're your hosts, Lillian Levine.
And Tommy Levine.
Whether you're an open-minded, curious onlooker or a fellow Satanist seeking camaraderie, our goal is to share our personal experiences and delve into the intricate tapestry of Satanism in our daily lives, occasionally inviting other guests to share their unique perspectives, leaving no pentagram unturned. We'll explore how our beliefs shape our views on society, dive into struggles and triumphs we've encountered, and reveal the humanity that unites us all. So grab your favorite chalice and join us on this captivating journey. Satanist Nextdoor is ready to peel back the curtain and offer you a glimpse into our world, one captivating episode at a time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Satanist Nextdoor. This episode, we are going to be talking about Halloween.
Goofball.
Well, I mean, as Satanists, Halloween is like, obviously a favorite holiday, but,
Yeah.
we do all those things at the
I'm actually
Christians.
going to correct you on that one. My favorite holiday as a Satanist is my birthday.
Well, yes. Okay. Yes. As a holiday, my birthday, but as a national sort of like recognized holiday, the United States doesn't recognize my birthday
Are
yet.
you sure?
Yet as a holiday. I'm still working on that. We will get that bill through somehow.
Oh my God. Probably not. But no, Halloween is definitely an amazing holiday. I know a lot of people try to make it into something else, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the fun thing is TST has it as one of its recognized holidays. And as they describe on the website, Halloween, holiday to celebrate indulgence and embrace the darkness and its aesthetic. Halloween is consistently described as evil, demonic, and satanic by those steeped in religious dogma. Costumes, candy, and facing fears are to be embraced. And I love that. No, I mean, in a serious note, though, like facing fears, think about that. So much of what we do, and even, again, not trying to crap on people that do hold very strong religious beliefs and ideologies, they're welcome to those things, but we do often have so many things that are created, especially the extremist aspects of it, out of fear and the inability to cope with or face fears. And I think it's so important, especially for a religion like Satanism, where you are supposed to be accountable for everything. To be able to face fear is a huge part of accepting accountability and understanding the motivation behind your actions.
Yeah, definitely. And so what we as Satanists don't do on Halloween, regardless of the rumors that you've heard or what the church tells you or the pastor tells you or the youth group minister or all the wacky people out there tell you, is we do not kill cats. We do not kill animals. We do not kill babies and drink their blood or summon up demons or any of that bullshit. Sometimes we do rituals, but they are, again, metaphorical. So we don't actually believe that we're like summoning up demons or something like that.
Well, and to be fair, I do know some theistic Satanists, and I'm not going to speak for what they do or don't do, but at the end of the day, I know of no Satanist, no real Satanist that would ever harm a living thing in order to use ritual or anything like that. That is something completely different. It is not condoned by any of the different varieties of Satanism that I'm aware of.
Right. In fact, it's specifically called out. Yeah, I mean, anywhere from COS to TOS to TST.
Yeah, Luciferianism. Yeah,
every single one of them. You do not harm animals, No,
it's often looked at as a weak behavior. To pretend that harming something gives you strength is the very opposite of what it is to be satanic.
Right, exactly. I mean, if you have to supposedly steal something else's life force in order to do whatever you're going to do, then you're pretty damn weak as a, quote unquote magician, Again, we don't look at magic as real. So, but that's kind of the way that, I've even looked at it in the past as I was exploring different things. But some of our favorite, crazy Christians have posted some stuff out there. Greg Locke.
Greg Locke. Yes. So I don't even want to call him pastor because that actually means something.
Yeah.
It's definitely not what he does. But Greg Crock of Crap who many people may probably already be aware of. If you aren't, feel free to look that craziness up, because boy, is that something. He runs something that they call deliverance ministry, and deliverance ministry is very widely spread. Unfortunately, it's found in many, many places, and the problem with deliverance ministry is it's one of the most extreme ministries out there. It is incredibly critical of the LGBTQ community. It is very much an incitement of violence and violent behavior. It is exactly what extremism is elsewhere around the world in relation to other religious beliefs. This would be right up there with that sort of stuff. So the thing that they're currently doing in their fun little Halloween night event is they are having they're doing two things. They said they're conducting a mass deliverance service for children, which, guys,
indoctrination.
I don't have to tell you this, but as parents ourselves and knowing other parents, it is not our job to tell our children what to believe. We can definitely guide them. We should be guiding them on things to be cautious of and things to learn, but we're not ourselves experts on life. I'm still learning about life. So this is just such an insult to me, and it's pretty scary. But they'll be conducting this mass deliverance for children. He talks about praying for the freedom and health of your children. I don't see how indoctrinating them is in any way emboldening them to be free.
It's kind of the opposite.
And then he goes into how the adults we deal with in deliverance ministry have been under attack since they were kids. From what?
Yeah. So this goes into that wacky sort of spiritual warfare, because I saw this a lot on from evangelicals. They like actually believe that as you're walking through life, your everyday life, like you're dragging along either demons or angels with you, and like if you do something sinful, you allow demons into your house, and then they battle with the angels. It's like a whole sort of fantasy, I don't know, like war game going on in the back, and they've got some pretty funny books.
I'm not going to talk about where it is. You guys are free to look this crap up, and I am not in any way telling anyone to go near this thing, to involve yourself. I do not do that.
No, stay as far away from it as you can.
Because and you know what? I don't agree with it, but it's their religious thing.
Yeah.
The only problem I'm starting to have here is once you start involving children, again, consent, very big deal. This isn't about sex. I certainly fucking hope it's not about sex. But when you're talking about consent, it's more than that. So consent also means kids don't understand this stuff, and you're not giving them an opportunity to get an understanding for who they are, what they want, what their beliefs may even be. Maybe they do want to be Christian. That's great. But you don't brainwash them into stuff when they should be out. This is a good time to play pretend. You dress up, you go out and get candy with your friends, Good job checking the candy. Don't just munch it all down your face the moment that you get it in the bag and come home with a stomach ache. But,
But imagine the emotional damage this is like emotional abuse, because these kids are being taught that like these pretend demon things are constantly hanging over, and as they do things wrong, it gives these things more power over them. And I mean, this is like a horror movie. Like you're actually teaching your children that they live inside of a horror movie.
Kind of. Yeah.
I mean, it's incredibly abusive because
guilt, shame, blame,
just the scariness. I mean, think of if you're a kid and you think, oh my God, there's
surrounded by evil,
surrounded
demonic
by
entities,
these demons in my room, and they're looking at me.
People. Other people contain... Could you imagine as a kid looking at other people wondering, is this one demonic? Is that one demonic? There's enough crappy people that exist in the world that we don't need to add fictional demonic entities to everything that a child meets. What a terrifying existence that must be.
Yeah. That's the part that really pisses me off. Burn as many of the...
Well, yeah, and that's part two.
Yeah, that's part two.
So part two of what they're going to be looking to accomplish in the mass deliverance ceremony that they'll be holding Halloween night is they will once again be burning all things related to witchcraft and the occult. And then they say, ask the Lord to show you what's in your home that needs to be removed. I can assure you there are some items that must go. Look. One of the things that was really difficult for me growing up is I would go into foster care, and foster care would put you in different homes. These people were well-intended for the most part, and so you would experience, I said for the most part, there's crappy people in every job.
Yep.
And fostering is a calling, but it is also a job. You get paid for it, whatever. But some of the foster families that I went to live with were incredibly religious. They did, in my mind, ultimately mean well, but part of what they did was try to involve you in the church because they thought that it was helpful. And if you're ever been involved in foster care or know kids who have been, one of the things that you'll know is that owning things, having things that are yours, that are reminiscent of the life you had, or any of those things are few and far between. So you don't have a lot of stuff. And what you do have tends to be very precious because it's a memory and a thing. Mm-hmm. So it tends to be very important to you. Some of the things that I had received were from one of my caseworkers who was amazing. She had gotten me some Nirvana tapes, and they were really important to me because I love Nirvana, and it was something nice that they did because listening to music was a nice way to not be in an uncomfortable environment because you're constantly surrounded by people, especially in the group homes. And one of the homes that I went to, they took all these things, like all of my tapes, anything that they deemed to be quote-unquote demonic, and they burned them. And that was really traumatizing to me. It was something that I held dear, and it was very emotional for me, and it built some real strong feelings towards those people.
Resentment.
And not towards the religion entirely, but yeah, I did resent them. I was angry. I was frustrated because I had so little power anyway, being part of the system. Mm-hmm. You know, you have so little to say over what happens to your life, and it's constantly out of your hands. So that was just such an insult to have someone decide for me that this was a demonic influence in my life and to take it from me. Clothes, shirts, just different things. They chose to burn that, and I felt it was horrible. You know, even as a kid, and I believe when that happened I was 14, and that was just awful, especially since it wasn't that long in the realm of when Kurt Cobain had died. Yeah. So it was sort of even worse because, you know, I dealt with my own emotional things, and so that just made things worse for me. So listening to this, my fear is parents will go around their home and things that children hold dear. It probably won't all be things that belong to the kids, but my fear is that things that some of their children hold dear will be taken from them, and that's just yet another hurt that they'll have to endure. And then I've met some people, lovely people, on the other end of this trying to unpack religious trauma, and this does traumatize your children.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Oh, very, very much does traumatize them. And again, when I hear evangelicals, fundamentalists, these radicals, I'm just, you know, they're extremists, they're radicals. Mm-hmm. You know, there's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. This is where I have the hard time with like drawing the line between religion and mental illness.
Not that there's anything wrong with people that struggle with mental illness.
No, because you should treat mental illness is an illness, and it should be treated like any other illness. You know, right. If you had cancer or something, you wouldn't go, you know, not treat it. And so when I read this, if you listen to the way that they talk, they actually believe like God is going to be talking to you, or you know, and you're going to
God
hear
guide your decisions.
God, and you're going to do things that God tells you to do. Now, if I took the word God or Jesus out of half of their statements and said Bob is, you know, I have Bob who tells me what to do. I wake up in the morning and I hear from Bob, and Bob from the closet tells me what to do, and then I go do whatever Bob tells me to do. I'm going to be put in a asylum. You know, I mean, I'm going to be.
I don't think they call that.
Okay, yeah,
you'll be probably hospitalized.
Yeah, struggling for the word.
There may still be asylums. I mean, I don't know.
But you're definitely going to have some sort of, you know, if I went to a psychiatrist and I said, yeah, Bob tells me to do this, they're going to be looking at me like.
It would really depend. There's certainly people that do utilize God as a reason they're going to do something bad and say it that way. I've definitely heard that. But yeah, I like the Bob from the closet thing. It's another joke because of another evangelical extremist that they had their kid would supposedly go into different areas of the house and be able to communicate with a deity who I believe they thought was maybe Jesus. I think that's what it was. And at one point, Jesus. They were running for a political office. I'm not going to say who it is. You can definitely look it up, and I'm sure you'd find it if you said, you know, a kid praying in closet talks to Jesus about parents' political career or something. But, you know, apparently this lady goes on to say that her kid goes into her closet and is talking to Jesus.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and then is like, yeah, you're going to run for office and blah, blah, blah. So it was just, wow.
Yeah. I mean, so that's where literally when you look back at religion and you read the Bible and stuff like that, you kind of look at some of this stuff and say, I mean, the way I look at a lot of these stories is these were people that, they didn't understand what schizophrenia and all of that stuff was back then, So, hey, here's Bob, and he's hearing all these things, and they're telling him to do this. Oh my gosh, he must be talking to God, and and
there's tons of different things that can cause that, dissociative issues. And
yeah.
There's tons of issues.
Acid.
But there's also, I think, people that, honestly, they're so desperate to feel special.
Yes.
And I feel that sometimes in these extremist cults, which is what they definitely are, the ability to become special hinges on, speaking in tongues or having a relationship with the Holy Spirit. I mean, folks think that Satanists have never been into a church, and let me tell you what, I've been into quite a few different types of churches.
Yep.
And I've seen many different things, including people speaking in tongues and dancing up and down the aisle.
The funny flag lady that would run up and down the aisle and dance in front of everybody.
They
ribbons.
were ribbons.
That's right, ribbon. The funny ribbon lady, and it's like you just look and be like, okay, this is just. Unfortunately, it's a very sad, desperate cry for attention.
Yeah, and it's okay to want people to interact with you and to have a relationship with people, and there are definitely ways to learn how to do that constructively. I just don't personally feel like those behaviors are.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're healthy.
But what happens with Halloween a lot of times, I think, is that you'll see it monopolized by these religious extremists to take away just people's regular joy, just fun that you can have, adults down to kids. And I'm sorry if you're one of these adults. I don't care if the kid's 20 freaking years old. And yes, I'm saying a kid, because if you're out just doing kid stuff, it's okay to be juvenile now and again. If you're out just with your friends, just going to collect some candy, you're not hurting anybody. If you're not out there egging people's houses and all that stuff, which, yeah, it's part of being a kid too. But if you're out there doing this stuff, screw it. Just give the people some freaking candy.
No shit. I give anybody that comes to my door, I don't give a crap if they're 2 or 22. If they're in a costume and they say Happy Halloween, I'm giving them fucking candy.
Yeah. The other thing I'm going to say, I hate to have to put this out there, but parents, just be careful. There's a lot of folks with guns that are really weird. So as you approach homes this year, please be very mindful that you're being aware, cautious, and, just aware of your environment. Make sure the lights are on and people are wanting to interact, because I don't trust a damn person anymore, especially if you live in one of the southern
Texas.
States.
Oh, hell no.
So,
Yeah, I mean, so to Satanists, Halloween's a very joyful, but again, it's all metaphoric.
Right.
If we do a ritual, it's metaphorical. We have fun with that ritual.
Right. There's psychological components.
Yeah, depending on if you're with a group or, if you're just with your significant other, hey, you can even do a little sex magic and
absolutely.
have some fucking fun with it,
Yeah. Fucking fun.
Fucking fun with sex magic. There you go. And if something ever comes of that, I'm going to go. If something ever comes of that, we know that's just a coincidence.
Well, and not even necessarily that. One of the things I like to talk to people, because they're like, well, you don't buy into any of that black magic crap. It's like, well, no, I don't buy into it as magic. But one of the fun things about human beings is when you put intent and focus on things, you're much more aware whether or not you're aware that you're aware of it. So these subconscious cues that we will sometimes pick up on because we have an idea out there will sometimes lead towards fruitful ends.
Right.
And so, that takes away a little mystery of that. I mean, again, I'm not crapping on people that happen to feel or think differently. That's fine. That's up to you. But for us, that is, we understand it is not a realistic thing. Magic does not exist like it does on Hocus Pocus or, Charmed. Although that would be freaking cool. I would like to shoot fireballs or something. But
if magic like that existed, I got fucking ripped off the last 30 years.
Seriously.
I'm telling you, I want that contract back for my soul.
Oh.
I am taking it back because you crawfished on that freaking contract, Satan.
Okay.
I'm taking it back now.
I'm ready to go back to reality now.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
Damn crawfish and Satan.
No, but it's wild to me. I'm seeing a lot more of this kind of stuff throughout. Again, social media. If you want to see the extremes of the extremes, that's where you're going to find them. But people like Greg Locke are not few and far between, and their fellowships are not small. I would not be surprised. I mean, you'll see these pumpkin festival things other churches do, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're still offering kids a constructive way to enjoy fun and costumes and do pictures, and it's a family event, and that's great. But when you turn into something like that, where Greg is
burning shit.
Burning things, causing harm to people, even if it's not physically harming people, psychological harm lasts a whole hell of a lot longer than a bruise that you would get. And there is psychological harm that goes along with being abused.
Oh, very much so.
But when you take things from people, where you assign blame, guilt, shame, when you tell them they're wrong and they're evil and all these other subjective crap ass terms that they're going to lob towards people that are just figuring life out like we do.
Well, it's like one of the things that my parents did after they became extremists. And the kids were young, and all of a sudden they come home one day and it's like, you could tell something's wrong, and it's like, what's wrong? And they're like, well, we're not going to see you after you die. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And so, at some point with their grandparents, and again, when I grew up, my parents were, probably not necessarily atheists, but more, agnostic.
Yeah.
But we didn't go to church. There was no discussion of God, or I didn't even know who the hell Jesus was till I was like 13, and a friend was trying to describe it to me, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, God is Jesus and Jesus is God, and God sent his son himself down here as his son to kill him. I mean, it made like no sense to me. So that's how far removed from religion we were. And now all of a sudden, as my parents got older and, after some things happened in the real world, they went totally, extreme Christian. And so we were still at that point trying to have our kids interact with them. But they came home and it's like, well, what happened? And it's like, well, Nana told us that because you don't believe in God and Jesus.
I don't remember if it was them that specifically said it, but I know that they heard it.
No, it was them. Okay, I remember because I picked up the phone and was like, what in the fuck are you telling my kids? And that was like, at that point, we had to start distancing ourselves and the kids from their but unfortunately, because of the psychological abuse that would happen. And it was like,
I was glad they were curious about it. They got to go and experience church. They unfortunately, I'm sure that definitely helped them feel like, oh, I really don't like that. I would have more wanted them to just say, oh, it's not for me, or if it is for me, but for like different reasons.
Well, our second oldest went to the church functions, and I was like, why are you going? Just out of curiosity, why are you going? She's like, they give candy and food. I was like, so you don't actually do you believe any of this? She's like, oh, hell no, but they give candy and food.
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, but, we always took the stance of if our children wanted to explore religion, it didn't matter what religion it was, as long as it wasn't harming people, we were okay with that. They've been to churches, they've been to Buddhist temples, they've been to, mosques, they've been to Hindu temples, I mean, all sorts of things, and they've been able to experience that on their own, with us there to answer questions or anything, depending on, age specific.
And hell, I know we didn't know about a lot of these things. So the cool thing is a lot of these places will have folks that'll kind of
explain it,
guide you through it, and explain some of the history and the whatever associative things with it. And so we always have fun doing that. I remember when we went to one of the Hindu temple was really cool because they brought over a lot of the stone and things.
I think they brought it all over. Yeah, he said they brought over every single piece of marble, and this whole building is made of marble. It's like
insanely beautiful. But it was so funny because I not that it's necessarily funny that you're stereotyping folks, but it was funny to me because he super sweet dude, really friendly, did not, I don't think, have any ill will in the way that they kept doing it. And they're like, you're Christian, right? And we'd be like, no, definitely not Christian. And a little bit later you'd be looking at something else, and as Christian, no, I remember we talked about that. Not Christian, just here, just exploring, So it was nice though because they did such a detailed explanation of the different deities. Because this particular temple, they had a few too.
We came at nap time, one of the deities' nap times.
No, it was like all of them were taking a nap. They changed their clothes and they get nap breaks, and then we got to bathe one of the deities, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So it was a wonderful experience. I definitely think, if you're out there curious, check some places out. But I think it was a Hindu temple in Stafford, Texas.
Yeah, something like that.
Cool place.
But again, as Satanists, we understand these are all metaphorical.
That's how we feel.
Right.
But for them, they're definitely not. And the fun part for me as a Satanist, and what I think we've both kind of done, is just immerse yourself in it as if it is, you're there and open-minded.
Right.
And, don't bring your preconceived crap. Don't push your assumptions or your thoughts. Just go and experience that moment. And it's been fun because, I think I've had some of the most wonderful conversations and the coolest experiences just doing that.
Yeah. So, but again, kind of back to Halloween, so rumors that people are, because again, I kind of became a Satanist towards the end of the Satanic Panic. So, I heard everything from there's black cats missing in the neighborhood. Oh, the Satanists must be taking them and killing them. They're going to kill them.
You still hear that crap.
I know. It went away for a while, but now it's like back. And that's the scary part, is because there was that break in between where it's like, okay, people became normal and they were like, oh, wait, this is like some really, out there bullshit that these people are selling or trying to sell. And now, at least in the United States, anyways, and specifically, especially in the southern United States, in these conservative states, it's back again. And it's back in a different way, but it's there. And I've heard the whole cats missing from the neighborhood. You saw it on Facebook, a couple years ago or something.
In our neighborhood,
where it was like, there were some cats missing, so be careful because the Satanists are out there killing cats. Of course, we walk around almost every night with Hail Satan shirts on, so I'm sure people are looking at us being like, oh, they're hunting for cats, and it's like, nope. We don't do any of that. Any of that stuff.
And it was interesting because earlier, I think it was Lucian had put something out also on social media, a different thing. Oh, the People, Exorcist. The People article where, yes, the Exorcist believer is based on real life possession story. Folks, possession, that whole thing, that is there. I don't even know where to go with that, but look, demonic entities possessing bodies is most likely others health-related issues that are definitely not demons, and we don't need to be abusing children or anybody else for that. But it's crazy to me that here we are, like you were just saying, dealing with things like people telling you The Exorcist is based on a true story. Yeah,
it's based on real-life stories, and they have expert exclusive content. So of course I had to comment on the People article and put a Bert and Ernie gif,
experts,
where Ernie didn't realize Bert was possessed until Bert turned his head more than 180 degrees around, and but that goes back to like Bert is evil. If you we're going way back with the internet now, which was a kind of funny website for a while.
But no, it was crazy, especially seeing it in People. Not that I'm saying that they're always they've definitely had some stuff on there that has been questionable, but this was just way, 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 way out there as far as what are you doing here promoting this crap.
Yeah, seeing it in People magazine, I was like, what in the fuck?
I appreciate the quotation marks around enhance the authenticity. So, maybe they're implying that they don't, I don't know. And again, quotes around these are real phenomena. So, again, at least I'll give them journalistic integrity points on that.
Yeah, they put quotes around stuff. So. Yeah. But it is sad how many people actually believe this crazy stuff out there, and think like Satanists are running wild on Halloween, and they have like their prayer groups and stuff like that, and that if they pray hard enough that they can win the spiritual warfare battle of the night. Or
I feel really sad, honestly, because I can't imagine how terrifying it is to have to go through life really believing that crap is happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is where you have a lot of empathy and I don't. It's like you feel bad and I'm like, no, you're choosing to believe this stuff.
Well, not if you're one of these kids that go to this kind of crap and that's what your experience has been. Right. But they grow up into adults, you know, and you've been like indoctrinated into that your whole ass life. So, really, is it really a choice? Not for everybody.
I don't know. At some point in your life, everybody should at least look at who they are,
Okay,
what they
but
believe, and then question it.
I agree that would be a great thing in the ideal world, but you have to understand how insulated so many religious communities are. There are some individuals within these communities, that's their only experience.
Yeah.
They don't go to school. They don't have normal friends. Everything is church-based. So
Yeah.
going outside of that is scary because they've made it scary.
No,
And,
I agree.
you know.
I understand that part. And it is, I mean, for those individuals, I do have, some empathy. For the people like my parents that were not, and they chose to kind of go into that, and they chose with their eyes wide open, because I remember, as they started to go tiptoe into Christianity, I remember I had that discussion with my father that night, and I was like, this is, because my father had always sort of believed he believed in a heaven, but he believed if you were a good person, you went to heaven. And I was like, no, you don't understand. If you start going down this route that, if you don't believe in Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you go to hell. It doesn't matter how good you were or how bad you were. And you could be really bad, and you could, and he was like, oh, no way, no. And I'll never believe anything like that. I'm like, no, come talk to me in about, 5 to 10 years and let's see. And unfortunately I was right, 5 or 10 years later, and they so they went in with their eyes wide open, and I have no empathy at that point for people.
Yeah, it gets really difficult for me because when you look at what happened during the Satanic Panic and why these kind of behaviors bother me, people like the McMartins, who were upstanding, normal human. I've never seen anything to the contrary. I'm not saying that there weren't things. I don't know that. But from everything I've been able to learn about the McMartins and what their experience was, they were everyday, average people leading the best lives they could, being genuinely decent human beings, and not doing any of the things that were claimed about them.
Right.
And these individuals, as far as I understand, were religious.
I think they were.
And when I say religious, I mean I believe that they were some manner of, I believe, Christian. I could be wrong, but as far as I understood, I believe some of them were, in fact. And it was a family. It's not just like one person.
Right, it was an entire...
They had a daycare, and there was a whole mess of crap that went along with it. These people's lives were ruined.
Yeah, they were in jail.
Ruined.
I mean, some of them were in jail for years, right?
Yeah. I mean, I believe the mom, who was older already, was in jail for a very long time. And you got to think, their crime was running a daycare.
Yeah.
That's literally all they did.
Somebody made an
accusation that there was child abuse, and then it became satanic-based child abuse, and it just went like straight off the rails from there, and it involved no small amount of incredibly unethical, supposed psychiatric crap that has been well since debunked. If you're curious about things like that, you could check out Grey Faction or any number of other really cool things that talk about like counter psychological crap that is out there and unscientific, pseudoscientific psychology. But the reason why this stuff scares me is because now you have communities like COS, like TST, and all the other type of Satanism in between, we are actually Satanist,
Yeah.
And so when you have people out there that are able to ruin other individuals' lives, and the McMartins are one of thousands of such cases, it makes me worried when you have people that are actual Satanists. How does that work? What does that look like? And these Halloween attacks and these made-up Halloween issues, or when you have people that are out there telling you that, if you share the wrong family movie and it has the wrong message, it's going to come through the TV.
Yeah, demons are going to come through the TV and possess you or some shit.
That's when things get really wacky to me.
Yeah. I mean, but see, remember when we had our first daughter? Mm-hmm. We were very, very active Satanists at the time. Mm-hmm. And I remember we had that discussion because, again, this was still at the tail end of the Satanic Panic. And we actually we sort of backed away from Satanism at the time. Now, again, there wasn't a group like TST that was out there really active, fighting legal battles, being in the news. You saw, the most you saw was some stuff every once in a while from Church of Satan, or every once in a while Michael Aquino from TOS would go on Oprah or Geraldo. Yeah. And, because he was a lieutenant colonel in the military, it gave a little bit more credit to, when he would say, no, we don't.
The counterclaims.
Yeah, we won't do this stuff. But so because of the environment now, and again, like I I see it less scary now because there is a TST out there. There are thousands of people proclaiming, yes, publicly, I'm a Satanist. And there's a whole,
right. And
TST
it's a valid religion, and we have valid beliefs, and we're recognized publicly that way. I agree.
So it would be harder for them to do what they did in the 80s and 90s. Doesn't mean they can't do it. So it is still scary as I start to watch the country sort of slip further and further that direction.
Well, some of the more outspoken leadership in the country anyway. I still firmly don't believe the majority of people align with these things.
No.
I really don't. But there are some incredibly outspoken, relatively unstable people that are doing things that really make me concerned.
Yeah. Well, but if you look at it, the majority of people don't want abortion to be illegal, but it is because they got the right people in the right spot.
Yeah.
So, bad things can still happen even if the majority of people don't agree with it or believe it, especially with the way United States politics works. So,
all right. So, now that we got the crazy cracker hole broke that apart into little crumbs. Can
we go back to sex magic and fucking and if things come, if things come from that?
You're amusing yourself with your jokes way too much here. But no, what does it look like to be celebrating Halloween as a Satanist? So, I don't know. What are your experiences?
Oh, I mean, like I said, we of course, every year we sort of decorate, turn on the lights, hand out candy. So that's big. I love giving the candy. I dress up and so I'm out there sometimes pretending to, not be real. And then all of a sudden when the kids walk up, I move and, but, it's just having fun. That's what Halloween's about. And there's been some years where you and I have done some ritual, and then there's been years where we've done some group ritual too, and that was cool. That was fun, but most of the time it's just celebrating. It's fun. It's interactive. It's,
I enjoy, I think one of the fun things we're going to be doing this year that I'm excited about is we work with a local pagan community, Polk County Pagan, and they're doing, they do it about every 3 months. They're a festival / market, and they will be doing the Samhain Halloween type market, and they'll have costume contest, and we will be out there doing on baptisms, and that's fun for me because there's the ritual aspect. We get to be out there, and here you have the other side of it where they're condemning everyone and decrying people witches. Which, hello, how are we still doing this many fucking years into the... Yeah. Anyway, so we still have that stuff going on, but here we will be, a group of different believing people gathered together to enjoy one another's company and just...
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have Satanists, you're going to have pagans, you're going to have all sorts of people out there just having a good time.
Well, except for the dude with the
the crazy Christians.
And I guess in his own way, he's having a good time too.
I guess he's having a good time too, screaming about bestiality and all of that sort of shit, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure this one will be even worse than the other ones because you've got the added bonus of Halloween. So I'm sure that those wackadoodles will be out there in force. And
maybe. I mean, last time, I'm not going to remember the name of the group that was there. They had brought over some veterans that were, they helped out with doing security.
Yep.
There's a group of veterans that showed up to be they were supportive allies within the community, many communities, but they were out with the pagan community that time, and they were amazing. They had some speakers that they used to play Disney music, and they had fun, and they were really fun to talk to.
Yeah, and they played the Disney music because
copyright law.
Yeah, because these sort of extreme radicals, they'll be out there all day long on their bullhorn for 12 hours or whatnot, screaming and yelling, and then they record all this stuff, and then they put it online, and they try and use it for indoctrination purposes. But when you have the Disney music or something like that in the background, they can't use it because YouTube flags it and says, no, there's music. And it is called Veterans for Equality.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
I went and kind of looked.
Those folks were amazing.
I took a picture of their business card because, they were awesome.
Cool people, just super friendly, fun. and just really nice. But it was good. It helped that it was like 1,000,000 degrees.
Oh my God.
So, you
So
know,
fucking
there was
hot
that.
last time.
It was hot enough for folks that maybe can't comprehend Texas summers, that I had some candles. I bring them with me to certain, like, just different things as part of a display. And I had the candles out, and they melted. Like, they were all liquid wax.
Yeah, they're in a glass container, you know, so they're in these big glass containers.
It was hot.
And they weren't lit, but it was hot enough that by the time we packed shit up.
And the Polk County pagan folks, which, like, I love these people so much, you have no idea. But a lot of them were having a blast with the fact, like, the Satanist went home because it's hot.
It was too hot for the Satanist? Oh my God, what are they going to do in hell?
We are going to bring ice. No, so thankfully, since we don't believe in it, we're not worried about that. But, you know, we do follow scientific understanding, and heat stroke is scientifically a bad thing for your body.
Yes. Yeah, because it was way above 100. Yeah, I think it was like 107 or 105, something like that. So it was brutal last time. This time, hopefully, fingers crossed, because in Texas, I mean, we've had our fucking air conditioner come on in the middle of the night in December before.
Fact.
So,
yeah, but it's been relatively, it's starting off. October's been kind so far.
Beautiful right now, but yeah, I mean, so hopefully, fingers crossed. I don't think it'll be over 100, even if it warms up, but hopefully it'll be nice and cool, kind of like it is today in the 70s, because that way, if you're in a costume, you're not burning up, right? Yeah,
well, there's lots of fun costumes, so you don't have to burn up. But, you know, if you want to look into these guys, the Polk County Pagan Festival, they're really fun. They do a lot of different things, and it's a great community. So if you're in Texas and happen to be out in the Livingston, Texas area, cool place, check it out.
Yeah.
But, that's part of the ritual stuff I love. On baptisms, for me, are amazing because
baptisms are fun. They really are fun because you can actually see
a difference. Yeah.
How it affects people.
And so I love those, and being able to do it in October, in costume, out in public, it's amazing. It's a lot of fun for me. So yes, yeah.
Really quickly, in case people don't know what an unbaptism is, you know.
Right. That's a good point. So an unbaptism is not a reverse baptism in that you might be thinking like, well, a baptism is. An unbaptism is an opportunity for people who have been baptized either as children or later as adults, didn't really want to do it, felt forced into it, or would like to renounce it, or individuals who feel otherwise, impressed upon that they must act or live or be a certain kind of person, and the society is demanding them to do that. This is a way for individuals to denounce that and to stand up for themselves and to reclaim who they want to be. And it's a psychological way to remove barriers that we naturally put in place when we feel that we have been traumatized and told who we are and how we have to be. And so the beauty of it is the ritual is very straightforward. Everyone has an opportunity multiple times to leave the ritual. We always tell people when we start, if you feel uncomfortable or just don't want to participate, you can leave at any time. And then we just symbolically, consent's important. We symbolically, let them, we put little velvet ribbons that go on their wrist very loosely, and at one point we say, you can free yourself from what has been imposed upon you, and then we put a little upside down cross smudge for fun, and then you get to watch folks they just open up, and sometimes it's very emotional, and there's hugging and laughing, and it's just a lot of fun, and I really love doing it. It is not meant to revoke the power of God. It's meant to recognize that God is a fictional deity, and it has no power over you. You have all the power over you, and this is how you reclaim it.
And most people, at least in the United States, I can't speak for other countries, but most people in the United States were baptized in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through Catholicism or Christianity, as a child. They had no choice. Right. This was something that was just forced upon them. And so like you said, this is more of a psychological, because that's how ritual is. It's psychological. We don't believe actual demons or angels or spirits or deities or any of that sort of come around. A ritual is a psychological experience. And in this one, you can at the time see the release from some people that have been carrying around a lot of religious trauma with them.
Yeah, and it is hard, especially since with that imposed belief, there's so many things that are taken from people, including their family. A lot of people, when they can't live up to this unrealistic expectations so many religions place on you, people will withdraw love, support. You know, you lose community, family. You lose so many
They'll
things.
disown them.
And so you're walking around feeling lost. You're walking around feeling rejected. You're walking around with a lot of pain, and it's a really beautiful ceremony that we can do as far as of the many things that we do that provides people an opportunity to take the power back.
Yep.
And even through the ritual, I believe that it's the power that you bestow on me, not any god or deity or even Satan. Again, metaphorical, literary character. I don't believe in a literal Satan. But it's fun, and
and people don't have to be Satanists to be unbaptized.
No, ever.
I don't. Again, this is one of those things that, like, you're not selling your soul over to the devil or any shit like that. It's a literal, just psychological ritual. It is, to remove that religious trauma that people have had.
Yeah, so it's something we just offer. There's no strings attached. You don't have to give us anything. It's just a lot of fun, and I get to talk to folks. Some people prefer one-on-one. We have a few of our ministers that are there, congregation leaders, and so it's just a nice time to just sit, talk, get to know our community, provide a service to our community, and it's a lot of fun. So that's part of what we do during our Halloween time. We also spend time with our family. We watch really campy, sometimes incredibly crappy, I apologize again for the movie last night, horror movies throughout the month of October. And, it's part of our ritual.
That reminds me, I forgot to change my ringtone. Normally, like the 1st of October, I change my ringtone over to the Michael Myers Halloween theme. And I need to do that now because I totally forgot about that until you were talking about the movies.
Yeah, we didn't watch Michael Myers last night.
Not yet. Our kids will hit us up for Halloween. I guarantee you sometime they'll hit us up to watch that.
Yeah, that's one of the rituals that we have as far as family rituals, traditions. Traditionally, we eat fast food, junk food, we hang out, we watch movies. All October weekends are kind of dedicated in part to doing that as a family. So.
Indulge.
Yeah, indulgence. Indulgence comes in many forms, and enjoying foods and things you love is definitely a type of indulgence. Again, with all indulgences, indulge responsibly. But, there's so many cool things. And just seeing people be able to, I feel like, shed some of the, I have to be an adult all the time. Just play pretend and dress up and have fun. It's one of the beauties of Halloween for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I love it when I see adults dressed up walking with their kids that are dressed up because, it's part of the experience, and the adults are partaking in that experience with their kids, and as the adult, you're still able to kind of have fun too.
Yeah. Our neighborhood's a little wild where sometimes you'll go and people have hot dogs and they'll be out with little bonfires and people have like alcohol lined up that they'll give to the adults.
You want a beer?
They have it off to the side. Obviously, it's very responsibly done, but it's kind of wild when you live in a neighborhood like that. And I love seeing it because there is a sense of community that comes with holidays like Halloween. So yes, people want to demonize it and no, we don't do those things. We're not out there sacrificing cats, babies, using blood. We're not, none of that. It's just.
You mean I got to get the baby blood
return it
out of the fridge? That cost me so much money. I mean, that baby blood is expensive now.
I know.
Now that they stopped abortions in Texas, you actually have to go out of state for this shit.
X-nay on the abortion bay. But no. But that's just, it's always been wild to me. The things that happen during the month of October, because you finally get a little bit of permission to just have fun.
Yeah.
Then there is a serious portion of it, because we do live in Houston, so Dia de la Muerte is another thing that happens during the month of October, where people are dressing up for a different reason and celebrating ancestors that have long since passed, and just there's a lot to that too. So Dia de la Muerte is a really cool holiday as well that happens in the month of October.
Yeah. So, well, I think we're coming up on our time here, and so hopefully you've enjoyed this little walk down a bit of memory lane with us, but also, some of our shenanigans around Halloween. And, I hope you have a very safe and responsible, but indulge in Halloween and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and we'll probably talk to you quite a few times between now and then. But until next time,
Hail Satan.